Good day to you all watching this video. This channel is dedicated to a 1-minute film showcase in the form of stop motion animation. I will be taking you through a limited series of 7 videos, taking you through every step I take to get to the final result. That includes the development of the idea, the build of the puppet, the set design, the filming process, and post-production, which includes special effects. Well, without any further ado, let's get going. In my holiday, I was left feeling useless because I had no projects to work on, and if you know me,
you know I'm all about that work.
So I decided to give into those urges of not resting and getting alive, and I glanced over the upcoming projects that I had for the upcoming semester. After that, I was left with sleepless nights, with ideas keeping me awake and like, what am I going to do with this project? While I was having this dilemma, I was binge watching the amazing series Stranger Things, and in one episode it all came to me. Season 4, episode 4, Dear Billy. So this episode had me on my toes, and when the last sequence of the episode ended, I was left speechless. So the natural thing I did was to watch it again, and then again, and then again. But yet, me watching it so many times, each time it still had the exact same impact on me. It was so emotional. It was great storytelling. So clearly this episode, and especially the last sequence, inspired me. Instead of trying to create this whole new world, let's reference something that is successful and something that I truly am passionate about already. And I knew I wanted to use this sequence from Stranger Things because it had such a great visual aesthetic, first of all. Secondly, it had brilliant storytelling. And lastly, but not the least, they had a great choice of music and how they incorporated it into the story. And not just the music, the audio was so effective, and how the series used the audio to symbolize something, and I'm gonna make use of that to my advantage. But I still have to be very creative about it, because the only reason it works so well in storytelling is because of what led up to this climatic moment. They used a lot of storytelling methods, that added to it. So it doesn't really make sense if you just watch that one sequence. You have to watch the moments leading up to it to understand the message they want to portray. But I need to still creatively solve those problems of how will I incorporate that to not only make this short film for Stranger Things fans. I still want to make this animation available for anyone to watch, and they must still understand the message I want to portray.
Max Mayfield from Stranger Things is one of the teenagers in Hawkins that are cursed by the antagonist of the story, Vecna. Being cursed by Vecna means that you are haunted by his visions for a few days, leading up to a very gruesome death. Max's friends go on an expedition to try and figure out how to escape Vecna's curse and help their friend Max, but Max accepts her death and she feels like she deserves to die. She starts writing letters to everyone she feels she needs to still say something to. She goes to visit her brother's grave, Billy, who was murdered in the previous season by the previous antagonist. Max feels responsible for his death, and she reveals this in her letter to him.
I play that moment back in my head all the time. Sometimes I imagine myself running to you, pulling you away. I imagine that if I had, that you would still be here.
As she reads the letter, she's pulled into one of Vecna's visions, and this is the last one, which ends up in a gruesome death. In this sequence, it is revealed that Max considered following Billy into his death. The sequence that I want to recreate in my stop motion animation deals with her running from Vecna, fighting for her life, but in actuality it is the symbol of her realizing that she is worth living, and she fights for her life and runs towards her new life with her friends and full of love. So when I had all my ideas and a better understanding of how I wanted to do this, I knew I had to get all of these thoughts floating around onto paper. So first I wrote a treatment, then I made a mood board, and then I sketched out my storyboard and tweaked it until I was happy with it. So my mood board is more like a reference board. This is not normally how I would make a mood board, but because I am referencing so much of something that was already created, I thought I would rather make me a reference board, put it up on my wall and get familiar with their faces. Thank you for watching. I hope this was insightful and you can start developing your own story now. Or if you don't want to, just stick around, come back next week and watch Billy and Max come alive. That wasn't a pun towards Billy at all, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you for watching, see you next week.